Japan is a land of enormous beauty and culture. It is the land of the legendary samurai warriors. The samurai is a recurring figure in today's culture, but what was their role in ancient Japanese society? The word samurai means the one who serves. That was their main role, to serve a feudal lord or even the emperor. Initially, the samurai collected taxes from the peasants. This work was not always peaceful. Therefore, the samurai began to use weapons and practice martial arts. They were also allowed to execute low-class citizens if they refused to pay the taxes required. The main duties of the samurai were to protect their lord's assets, to preserve order and customs, and to be loyal to their sovereign. Their growing influence increased respect for the samurai class, even being feared and hated by some citizens. Over time, many samurai accumulated wealth and land, but they were still considered an inferior class by the nobility. With the increase in land disputes, feudal lords hired more and more warriors as samurai. These feudal lords were known as daimyo and obeyed only the emperor. In 1185, many feudal lords went to war, and after many battles, Minamoto no Yoritomo was the winner. Minamoto received the title of shogun, great commander of the army, and all other feudal lords were forced to swear loyalty to him. Thus, the first military dictatorship of Japan was born, the Kamakura shogunate. During this period, the samurai class acquired military functions and its authority became even greater. Simply looking a samurai in the eye, or soiling his clothes, could cost the life of a peasant. To secure their place in society, many samurai married women from noble families. Their children were trained from childhood as their successors when they reached maturity. Rich and powerful families of samurai were born. They were trained to fight either armed or unarmed. These ancient martial arts gave rise to judo, karate, aikido, and many other modern martial arts. Part of the payment to the samurai was made in sacks of rice, since this was the most important food of the time. After 400 years of relative peace, Japan entered a new turbulent period. The central government was weakened. Many feudal lords went to war again, seeking to achieve military control over the whole of Japan. This phase of the conflict became known as the Sengoku JIDAI, period of states at war, or period of civil war. It was the most troubled civil war in Japanese history. This was the period when the samurai were most prominent. Many men from different social classes fought hard on the battlefields in the hope of being recognized and given the title of samurai. The famous Miyamoto Musashi was one of them, having participated in the Battle of Sekigahara. As warriors of the nobility, the samurai fought mainly on horseback. The primary weapon was the bow and arrow. Later, they used the spear. The sword was only used when there were no options left. Only samurai and nobles could have two swords on their waists. The long sword, the famous katana, had great financial and symbolic value. The sword was considered the soul of the samurai. The short sword was known as the WAKIZASHI, wielded when the samurai entered closed environments. The short sword was ideal for narrow or tight places. In these environments, it was more advantageous than the katana. Having these two swords at the waist was a great symbol of status. The armor worn by the samurai was lacquered wood, silk, and small metal plates. These armors were relatively light and allowed a wide range of movement without compromising the defensive part. Helmets were the heaviest item. They were made of only metal and had the most varied ornaments. Some armor was created in order to intimidate enemies. Finding a samurai on the battlefield was probably a terrifying experience. During the Sengoku Jidai, the situation in Japan became complicated, with hunger, disease, and fires affecting the population. Many feudal lords feared that their warriors had become too aggressive and ambitious. In order to control and discipline the samurai, the Bushido was created, a code of honor that the warrior should follow. Bushido means the path of the warrior. The code of conduct was based on the fusion of several Oriental philosophies, coming from religions such as Buddhism and Shintoism. Bushido valued justice, courage, compassion, respect, honesty, honor, and duty. Samurai should also learn calligraphy, painting, and various activities related to self-control and self-improvement. For most samurai, honor was more important than life itself. Life ends, but the name and reputation are remembered for generations. The symbol of the samurai became the cherry blossom, a flower of great beauty, but which appears only once a year and lasts a few days. Such should be the life of a samurai, to live the present, to serve his daimyo, and to leave this world at his peak. Of course, some only sought fame and power. Acts of betrayal also used to occur with some frequency. Tokugawa Ieyasu was the winner of the Battle of Sekigahara, initiating the Tokugawa shogunate. It was a new era of peace that lasted almost 300 years in Japan. With the end of the wars, the samurai caste declined. Many lost their masters or were simply fired. Some committed suicide through the ceremony designated as seppuku, feeling disgraced at the loss of their social status. Others chose to be merchants or policemen. Many became ronin, wanderers. This term was used to refer to the samurai without a master, who walked without a clear direction in Japan. They accepted jobs as mercenaries, bodyguards, and even constituted criminal groups. Japan passed much of its history closed to foreign countries, maintaining restricted commercial relations. But in 1854, this began to change. Due to a severe financial and commercial crisis, Japan was forced to open its ports for trade with foreign nations. This brought many novelties and improvements to Japan. However, many citizens, mainly from samurai families, were unhappy with the changes in the traditional Japanese lifestyle. All these changes led to the Meiji Restoration, a period that was marked by samurai resistance against the new government model. During the Meiji Restoration, the samurai caste was officially extinct. The last representatives were forced to surrender their swords. Those who refused were arrested and punished. The era of the samurai had come to an end. During the Second World War, the Japanese government propagandized to exalt the samurai spirit. The aim was to encourage the people and to keep the soldiers active on the front line. To help restore the samurai spirit, Japanese officers received swords similar to those used by the ancient samurai warriors. However, they were mass-produced, and their quality was not at all compared to the katanas, which are true works of art. In modern Japan, many samurai families continue to exist. Their code of honor and martial arts continue to be practiced by people all over the world. Therefore, the glory of the warriors of the rising sun is eternal.